the best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, guys. We had snow. Before Christmas. This is a big deal for us here in Southwest Louisiana because we, don't really get to see the snow. It didn't really last long here. I'm really surprised that the Baton Rouge, Gonzales, New Orleans area got quite a bit. I saw some pictures from some friends. They were actually able to make legitimate snowmen. I did see a lot of snowman pictures from around here, and it was, they looked like broke down snowmen. I'm just going to say that. But they did the best they could. But there is nothing. I'm 36 years old, and seeing it snow makes me feel like a child. To this day, anytime I see it, it's just magical. And it's something that we don't get to see a lot here. If you've moved from northern states and you're used to snow, you kind of joke around and say things like, they close schools and they close businesses when it barely snows here. And you go to work and it's blizzard type weather, but we're not used to that here. So anytime we get anything like that, it's kind of exciting and new for us. And people don't know how to drive in the ice here. So, we don't want them on the roads if that happens. But I hope, I'm sure that there was lots of gumbo that was made throughout the area. I snuggled up with my cat and my dog, made hot cocoa, and I actually made ramen. That was how I celebrated the cold weather. I had defrosted the ramen that I had made a while back and morphed it into a wonton soup. So that's how I spent it. Joining tonight as guest co-hosts, we have a lot of people in the studio, and I'm not used to it. So we have Scott Shea, Lawrence Yantes, and Jude Savoie with Cousin Smokehouse. They're some characters, and I've been laughing hysterically for the past 30 minutes before we went on air. How did you guys like the weather? Did you enjoy the snow? The little bit that we got?
Great. My 7-year-old absolutely adored going outside until she got too cold and wanted to go back in.
Did she build a snowman? Like a tiny one?
I'm going to say probably about a 2.5 footer, her and my wife. So they enjoyed it.
I tried to make a tiny one because by the time I got outside, it was like slush. So there was nothing really. There was just a little bit on my car, and I tried to make like a little thumbprint of a snowman.
That's pretty much what they did. They did it on our little trailer outside, the little utility trailer. So as of when I left the house to come here, it was still about a foot tall.
Yeah.
So.
Lauren?
I think I got hazard pay, actually. You mentioned Gonzales. That's exactly where I was driving to.
They had a lot of snow.
They had a lot of snow, but we were actually going through Metairie, and the Morgan City Bridge was closed, so we had to backtrack through Donaldsonville, White Castle, Plaquemine, took the ferry across.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, I think we were ice road truckers instead of Cousin Smokehouse. I have a video. I showed them. I didn't show my wife till I got back because she didn't want me going anyway. It was a lot of snow. It was, in fact, it was hard getting a hotel in Gonzales because a lot of people were out of power and they were going to stay at the hotels. Yeah.
From the pictures that I saw, when I saw the picture, it looked like it could have been Colorado. Like it was that much snow
I've got
on
a
the
video.
ground.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, wait, this is Louisiana? Like we have this much snow here? Like that's crazy.
Snow, no mountains. There you go.
Right. I remember one time when I was little, around Easter, because I'm from North Louisiana, and we were up there. In North Louisiana, it snows more than it does down here, and it happened to snow around Easter that year, and we actually made like big snowman.
I got frightened only when I saw the little girl that was in her yard making not a snowman but an igloo, and so she had legitimate blocks of ice.
Oh my god!
She was on her second row, and then I quickly looked back on the road because I didn't know exactly where the road was. We were the first on it, cutting the ice, so I just stayed between the signs.
Yeah, he had called not long after he passed it, and he's like, "I just saw somebody building an igloo in South Louisiana." I was like, well, you never see that, but here's a first for everything.
Did y'all make gumbos to celebrate? I know you were traveling, but did you?
I wished I had bourbon.
I did a seafood gumbo.
Yeah. I'm on a hot chocolate kick, and any followers out there listening, if you guys want to email me your suggestions, I'm looking for the best hot chocolate mix. It can be like at a place. Like if you go to a place and they have a really good hot chocolate, let me know. So far, my favorite one is a company out of Dallas called Dude Sweet Chocolate. And it's actually not a hot chocolate. It's a sipping chocolate. And the difference between it's basically a hot chocolate, but the difference between a sipping chocolate and a hot chocolate, it's a little thicker and a little richer, and it's delicious. It's got a saltiness to it. There's thick pieces of chunks of dark chocolate in it. So it's really good. And that's probably the best one that I've had. Runner up is going to be Trader Joe's peppermint hot chocolate mix, because mint and chocolate just go together. But if anyone out there listening has a favorite hot chocolate that you think I should try, let me know, because I'm on the hunt. Do you have a particular hot chocolate, either one of you?
I know the other night I tried making one from scratch. It was a pretty fun little time with my 7-year-old. So, but we ultimately used too much cocoa.
Yeah.
So it kind of got bitter, but it wasn't that bad. I'm not going to complain. So.
Also, putting Jameson whiskey in hot chocolate is also delicious.
Amen.
So I'll just say that's going to be happening for Christmas for me. No eggnog for me. Hot chocolate and Jameson. That's how I go.
You can definitely give me a call.
Yeah, all right.
I'm questioning if it's a sipping hot chocolate. I think that I would just thicker just means I just drink it a little bit slower. I don't know if I'd sip it. But I'm a coffee and chocolate fiend, so that would be all right. And then I think I keep the whiskey on the side, purist there. Scott, what about you?
It's funny she mentions chocolate because we are actually experimenting with a chocolate-inspired flavor for our next jerky product.
I'm so excited to hear this.
It's not hot. Well, it is at one point.
There's no Jameson either, apparently.
But it is really good.
We're going to have to talk about this when we talk about the Smokehouse a little bit, because that is very interesting to me. Also, there is a taqueria in town. I do not know the name of it, but it is on University towards Karen Crow, and they have Mexican hot chocolate right now. And Mexican hot chocolate has like a spicy cinnamon, and it'll have like a little bit of a spice to it. I've been seeing them post pictures on Facebook, so if you're curious, you can go check that out there. It might be worth checking out. Also, a couple of things. Zoo House Bakery is having their Christmas brunch next Sunday. And I just have 3 words for you: tater tot waffles. And that's why I'm going to be going there. Your eyes just got so big.
Hey, that can't be bad.
Tater tot waffles. So they're going to have different kinds of waffles, and they're going to have some other things. But that's what caught my eye. That's specifically what I'm going for is tater tot waffles.
You could definitely.
If you've seen the videos on social media, you'll want to check that out. And that's happening next Sunday at Zoo House Bakery.
Are there samples of that?
No. No, you got to go buy it. Also, it was announced this week that Lafayette is getting a poke restaurant. Surfside Poke is taking over the location of Walkalicious, and it's going to be build your own poke bowls. If you don't know what poke is, it's basically raw fish, and it's a dish that is very popular out in Hawaii. So it's from there, and you're going to be able to build your own. You can go on social media and get more information on it. But with the coming January and people eating better, that's going to be a really good thing for people that start doing low carb, Whole30, things like that. That'll be right up your alley. Along with that, La Pizzeria starting this Monday is going to have zucchini noodles on the menu. So if you don't want to eat carbs, you can go over there. They have the cauliflower crust pizza, and now they're going to have zucchini noodles that you can swap out for their pasta dishes. And then I went to Costco this past week, and they have giant bottles of avocado oil. And if you're doing Whole30, you're going to learn what avocado oil is. You can get a giant bottle for $8.99. And then I also saw that they have mashed cauliflower frozen in the food section, and I think it was around $8 too. And I think you get 4 packs of that. So brace yourselves. Whole30 January is coming, and you can kind of start shopping for that now. All right, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking with the guys from Cousin's Smokehouse. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 Cape. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining tonight as guest co-hosts, we have the guys from Cajun Smokehouse, Scott Shea, Lawrence Yantes, and Jude Savoie. We are having some technical difficulties, so I am going to warn y'all about that we may go in and out, but we're trying to work on it, and we're going to keep the show rolling while we work on it. Thanks, guys, for joining tonight.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Okay, so first is first. How did you come up with the name Cajun Smokehouse, and how did this business plan come to light?
Well, Lawrence is my cousin. That's as easy as it gets. We were together, maybe about 6-8 months, and we were doing some other things together, and Lawrence came to me one day, him and his wife, and they had talked about some smoked meat that she grew up with, so she talked to us about doing it.
Yeah, her family had just kind of taken the recipe. It wasn't the jerky that you have now. It was, it was called smoked meat. They did a lot of market research,
right?
Study on what the name should be, and so they came up with smoked meat, and they would make it, and they handed it out to family, friends. It was a local deal, and we were looking at something to do, and that was kind of the economic downturn in oil, and so we're like, hey, what we're going to do? And so I said, look, let's take a foray into food. So we took it. We went to some farmers markets. That's where we started. Shout out to I'm going to get the Munkus Park.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Farm, yeah.
It was originally the horse farm, and Munkus Park. That's kind of where we started, and we did well. We did really well, actually, and so then we started going to some of the other farmers markets and came to naming it. And we were both cousins, and we're probably as creative with names as they were with smoked meat. So we said, we are cousins, so let's just call it Cousins. And then there was this vagrant that kept coming by and trying some of the smoked meat and liked it. And that would be Scott. And then he got involved. Actually, I was doing a talk. Jude was in the back handing out smoked meat. I guess he was trying to bribe them to actually like what I was saying. And Scott didn't listen to anything I said and ate the smoked meat anyway. And then he was like, hey, guys, I want to get involved. And at this point, it's Scott's story, and he can take it on from there.
Yeah, so Jude and Lawrence were actually preparing to do a business pitch for Ladco's basically equivalent of the Shark Tank.
Okay.
And I was recruited by a friend of mine to be a guest judge, so maybe Mr. Wonderful or Mark Cube, I'm not sure which one. And
would it be Mr.
Lawrence
I don't
pretty
know
much nailed it. I ignored most of what Lawrence was saying. And
it hasn't changed.
Scott had 3 bags going before we were about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, and long story short, whenever it was finished, I told him I thought the business they were pitching was not very good.
Ouch.
But I really liked the, smoked meat at the time. And
he loved the name, by the way.
it started as a joke, probably for about 3 months. And then I guess after the joke went long enough, they decided they'd let me be an adopted cousin. And that was
we thought he was
a year ago
joking.
today.
Yeah, but it was a good family addition. I mean, if there's a step brother or something that you want to get involved with, Scott was the guy.
He's like a adopted cousin.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Extended family.
Redheaded stepchild.
What are y'all's backgrounds besides doing the beef jerky? What are y'all's backgrounds coming into the business?
We have to start with Scott for that one.
Yeah.
That is definitely he has the colorful background.
The quick summary is oil field to investments, which is what my day job, and now attempting to be a connoisseur of jerky.
Okay.
At night.
He left all the good stuff out of that. I just want to go on record. That was very cleaned up.
Yeah, I did oil and gas land work for over 10 years. So, and dabble in a little bit of politics. So,
I was a teacher. Actually, I'd gone to seminary for a while, said I didn't want to do that, went to teaching, actually taught in Crowley and Rain, and then did my MBA at LSU. Then apparently I had a business idea that was terrible, according to Scott, and we got out of that, and oil and gas went down. So, now it's...
To answer your question, zero experience in the food industry.
Gotcha.
Absolute.
No,
I can't say
terrible.
that.
We all like to eat.
Yeah, that's a lot of experience in South Louisiana.
to eat.
So the recipe that y'all are using, or the original recipe, was it from the smoked meat recipe that you guys had found?
It was a play on it.
No,
Okay.
we'll
Y'all
say
tweaked it a little bit?
yeah, recipe loose because when I asked them for it, excuse me, they gave me a list of ingredients, but there was actually no measurements. There was no nothing that makes a normal recipe was there other than the list of ingredients. So, in fact, one of the ingredients had like a disclaimer on the side. There was a particular place that they bought it in Pine Prairie.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I went to Pine Prairie to buy it.
And they were no longer open.
It was not there.
Yeah.
So
We used that recipe as our inspiration to come up with.
And y'all kind of tweaked it.
That's right.
How
yeah.
many trials and errors did y'all go through until y'all got the recipe?
It was a day of 32 variations with one of my wife's brother who had made it before. You know, it was kind of like, your grandma going, no, I think that's what it kind of looked like. And so we did 32 variations.
We did that. And then over the next, I'd say probably a couple of weeks, we kind of tweaked it a little extra, we wanted a little bit more sweet, a little bit more salt, a little bit more heat, and finally one night we were at the house and we were kind of just honing down to that final recipe and had like 3 or 4 different dishes on the table full of seasoning. So we kind of just went around and just took a little taste of each and kind of settled on our original flavor. So.
And what was the original flavor?
Original.
It's original.
We're
We
great
cannot
at names.
disclaim.
Absolutely great at naming.
We cannot disclose the exact ingredients. Okay. I want to know the process of making beef jerky.
Well, I will say this, about ingredients.
Okay.
There has been one not significant change to the original recipe when we were submitting it for approval for it to be called Cajun. Apparently, for the USDA, you have to have black pepper, white pepper, and there was another...
There was some garlic and onion to consider it to be Cajun.
And we did we did not have, we had all of the rest except for white pepper. And so we had to add a little bit of white pepper to meet the USDA
being from
requirement.
South Louisiana, I couldn't believe when Lawrence called me. He's like, man, we need white pepper. And I'm like, why? Well, we don't classify as Cajun unless we have white pepper. I said, if you went to 100,000 Cajuns from South Louisiana, you're going to find 2 of them that their cardiologist told them to use white pepper instead of black. That's it. And so he's like, well, we got to put it. So it was kind of funny for about a week, what we had to do.
That's so funny to me that the USDA has a classification of what can say Cajun on the.
And they sure do.
That's insane.
And they're serious about it.
They are.
So take me through the process of making beef jerky.
Well, we don't know what the process for beef jerky is. We're a pork jerky company.
Pork jerky?
Yeah, that's a low blow. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
No, it's a little different, I'm going to say, because most people tend to dehydrate the meat.
Okay, and that's what I would think that you would make jerky that way.
We do a full real wood smoke from start to finish, which it gives it a lot of depth, a lot of good earthy kind of strong barbecue flavor. And I mean, there's so many different directions you can go in when doing it, but I guess I'm the cook out of all 3 of us. So we have experimented a lot of different ways. And when we went from doing it at my house, in my garage, literally, to getting it made on a large scale, it was a thing we had to learn because, I mean, you're moving from a smoker that's the size of this desk right here, 3-4 foot wide, to a smoker that you can put an 18-wheeler in. So it's kind of a different play on how to cook it, but we used real wood, which is something nobody really does. So it distinguishes our flavor profiles from everybody else.
Well, we start with a cut of meat, and I can't disclose what that is, but that's really where we start.
Wait, I thought that was known because
it's not
people
known.
were telling me that whenever I tasted the pork jerky.
Mm-hmm.
They told you what cut of meat it was?
Oh.
That's not good.
I feel like y'all told me.
Oh, nope, it wasn't me.
Couldn't be. Absolutely impossible.
Scott,
Okay.
it was you.
May have been Scott.
Well, I'm glad I didn't say anything because I thought that was like part of the.
Well, no, I think so. The cut of meat's important. Then it goes through a tenderizing process, and then it goes into a marinade. It marinates for a period of time. I will say this, that it's less than what is required for beef considerably because it's pork, and it does absorb those flavors, which I think is why we have a tastier product, and it's thicker. And then at that point, it goes into the cook process, which has multiple stages because of USDA regulations. And after that, it's taken out, it's hand cut, sized, and we package it after that. That's the general process.
All right. Well, we are going to try to take another break. And when we come back, we'll have more with Cousin Smokehouse. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
From Boudin to the best burgers Acadiana has to offer, it's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been talking with the guys from Cousin Smokehouse, which is pork jerky. I was calling it beef jerky. It's actually pork. Scott Shea, Lawrence Yantis, and Jude Savoie. We think we have the technical difficulties under control now, so we should be good. But so while we were figuring that out, they went out to the car and got me some of the Cajun style original smoked pork jerky. It's delicious. And for you health nuts out there, this is something that you can eat. There's only 2 carbs, actually 1 carb because you subtract the 1 gram of fiber. So 1 gram of carbs. So that's pretty good. And there is sugar in here. So you can't do it if you're doing whole 30, but yeah.
1 gram of sugar for the whole bag.
Yeah.
If you look, it's 0 per serving.
That's awesome. This is great. What other flavor? Do y'all just have the original right now, or do y'all are working on the chocolate one?
That is a Scott Shea question again.
Okay, we can talk about the chocolate one. So you want to talk a little bit about the flavors?
Yeah, so we have our next flavor will be a spicier variety. We are also working on a sweeter version, which will be some type of play on maple and brown sugar.
Ooh, okay.
And we accidentally stumbled upon this chocolate variation.
And it's good.
It's really good.
It's almost like a when I hear chocolate like that, I think of mole. So is it kind of like a mole a little bit? And you're like, no.
No, I wouldn't say that.
There are 50-something ingredients to go into a mole. Better not be.
No, this was actually, it was kind of funny because Scott and I were discussing, what kind of recipe we wanted to come up with. And I said, man, I really want to try something with chocolate. And he's like, yes, chocolate's the way to go. So I used 2 ingredients and how to cook. And we had a little tasting at his house. And he's like, all right, this is definitely something we have to build on because most people don't think about chocolate. But I mean, right now, dessert, bacon,
right,
candied, dipped in chocolate.
The sweet and the salty work. I love that flavor profile. So I totally understand that.
Oh, yeah. And it's something that's really coming out big right now. So that's something we want to get into after the spicy and sweet flavor come around. Something with some chocolate, just to be different.
That sounds delicious. And besides Munkus Park, where can people go to get the Cousin Smokehouse?
So we are in roughly guesstimating about 350 retail locations.
Okay.
Primarily across South Louisiana. Most of the independent grocery stores in Lafayette will carry our product. All of the ShopRite Tobacco Plus convenience stores have our product. We are also available online via our website. Lawrence, if you want to add to that.
Well, if you go on our website, we have a store locator, and you can actually see most of the stores. That is not entirely up to date. We did just have a Rouse's rollout, and so you should be able to find us at your local Rouse's. They just got that in last week or the end of the week prior, and so not everybody has it clipped out and put out there yet, but definitely go check us out at Rouse's. If you don't see it, ask them about it.
All right. Okay, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Cousin Smokehouse. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Are you ready to save some money? It's the AV Man here with Audio Video Innovators, and we're celebrating our 28th anniversary. Thanks to all of our dedicated employees and all of our loyal customers, AVI is proud to be your locally owned and operated electronic superstore that has served the Acadiana area since 1989. To celebrate our 28th anniversary, we're having a 28% off sale. In our car stereo department, all of our incredible sounding AD design speakers have been drastically reduced by 28%. Do you need a backup camera? We have a wide selection and all of them have been marked down 28%. Even in our home audio department, our complete line of Yamaha speakers has been reduced, you guessed it, 28%. And don't forget about our great selection of high-definition surveillance camera systems for your home or business. Our entire family here at AVI sends our thanks to you personally for letting us serve you and your family for all your home, car, and electronic needs for the past 28 years. That's AVI, locally owned and operated off Ambassador, between Sam's and Walmart.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Dad! Come on! Over here! Look at this, Dad! Over! Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, biking, fishing, or camping. Or do your own thing when you get there with family and friends. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
She puts the wow, yum into words. It's the Lafayette food junkie herself on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been talking with the guys from Cajun, Smokehouse, Pork Jerky, Scott Shea, Lawrence Yantis, and Jude Savoy. So we keep talking about how it's pork. In the future, do y'all ever want to do beef?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
It's an easy question.
No. I'm an experimenter, though. I think we've kind of decided, though, to stay in pork because it's a niche kind of market, I guess you can say. And I mean, with pork, you get more flavor, you get more tenderness, you get a lot of things that beef just cannot give.
Y'all could also do venison. That's another one that I see a lot.
The deal, 86% of the U.S. market is beef.
Mm-hmm.
1%,
y'all want to be different.
1% is pork, and 3%, I don't know why they separate these, but 3% is bacon jerky. So
really?
We see an opportunity in pork. We like the meat. We like what it delivers flavor-wise, tenderness-wise. Check it out. I mean, it's not having to be shaved. It's a thick piece of meat.
It is. It's really nice. Yeah.
It stays tender. It stays flavorful. So I think we decided we're going to be a pork jerky company and not just a run-of-the-mill, we slap a beef and everything else on there as well.
It's nice because it doesn't taste, sometimes in the store-bought kind, it'll taste a little over-processed and then also super sweet. So it doesn't taste like that. So that's nice.
Well, Scott can talk about the sweet deal.
Definitely with the over-processed is a big thing.
The primary reason is that sugar is a preservative.
Right.
And it's also one of the cheapest ingredients that you can use. So when you're selling billions of dollars of jerky. If you can save a few pennies, and that goes a long way. So
it was something we learned when we started getting it made in large quantities was, people just want to throw the cheapest thing at you. And it was something that we didn't want to take. So, I mean, for us, using pork was just a natural thing. I mean, it's South Louisiana.
Right.
Pork is just
pork is king.
That's right. And as I teach my 7-year-old, fat is flavor. And so when it comes to pork, it just, for us, it's more of a natural thing down here. But I mean, when you talk about beef, because I get asked this question a lot, is, well, man, beef is thin. It's always drier. It's tougher. And when they make beef jerky on a mass scale, they're using these big primal cuts of meat and just sitting there and shaving. And so there's, I'm going to say, a lack of love put in it. They're not watching how they cut it because you can get tenderness just by cutting it a different way. So, I mean, for us, using the type of cut we do and just using pork in general is just a great thing. So that's why we want to stay like that.
All right, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with the guys from Cajun. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been talking with the guys from Cajun Smokehouse. They make a delicious pork jerky. That would be Scott Shea, Lawrence Yantes, and Jude Savoie. So what do you want the listeners at home to know most about your brand?
I think at its core, what we really want to do is let the rest of the world know about the great flavors and traditions of Louisiana. We are updating our packaging to really pay tribute and reflect on the culture of Louisiana. One of our, strict rules, even for the chocolate flavor, is that every flavor that we come out with will be inspired in some way by Louisiana, preferably using ingredients that are key to the cooking of this area. One we're looking at is strawberry, for example, the state fruit.
Oh.
So not just being another brand making another jerky, but really trying to let the world know that Louisiana has awesome food.
And then you guys recently got a new truck. So
we got a delivery van.
You're going to be traveling.
It's pretty neat. I know Lawrence has got a plethora of experience with it now with all the snow. Trying to go to a gathering yesterday and Friday.
Yeah, Gonzales, yeah.
So, but yeah, it's something that we're very eager for people to see. We're gonna, get it wrapped, and you'll be able to see the little Cajun Smokehouse van all around town. So it'll be a good thing for us. So.
Where is the farthest out that someone can get Cajun Smokehouse in the state?
Officially, I mean, you're talking probably about like Sorrento, New Orleans, North Shore, New Orleans would be the furthest that we know of. But we have a few distributors that we know distribute to, Arkansas. So it could be up in the Shreveport area as well. We wouldn't know quite yet because they don't give us that list. But yeah, just keep an eye out. Like I said, we have a store locator. We keep it updated as much as we can. But I know that we're in a lot of other places that we just don't have on that list as well.
So it's Cajun Smokehouse. So I want to ask, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot a little bit. What are some of your favorite local smokehouses around the area that are still operating or no longer operating? And what did you like about them?
I've got to do a shout out to Blanchard's. I mean, I know them well. They do a good job. They're generous with their portions. The nachos, great. I mean, I'm a sucker for their pimento, but I mean, the sandwich.
Their biscuits are amazing.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I can't say enough good things about the biscuits there.
Man, it's difficult for me because, I like food. So having a particular place it's difficult because, not just I do a lot of smoking of meats myself. So, a lot of barbecues, things like that. I'm the cook of the family. So when I go out and eat in Lafayette, I like trying different things, not necessarily going to a smokehouse. So, it's difficult. I don't know. I like a lot of fish. I don't mind going, to River Ranch to go to Oh, that's bad.
Is it smoked fish?
No.
Yeah, well, I was about to
actually,
ask.
it is. No,
I was
no.
about to ask if maybe a fish jerky might be something.
Quick story: the smoker we bought was actually it was in Seattle, I believe, for a gentleman that was smoking salmon jerky, and he didn't like the size of it, so after like 3 weeks, he turned it in. So we ended up buying it.
Did it smell like salmon?
It did not. It was
I'm
kind of
shocked.
Thank
weird.
goodness.
There's these, when I was doing Whole30 in January, I was buying these Epic bars, and they had a salmon one, and I was like, no, I can't do it. But there's a market for it, and I mean, in the northern states, they eat that.
It's a rapidly growing market. The exotic grass-fed for the health conscious community is definitely trending. So you see a lot of salmons, elk,
and it's different.
venison.
I mean, for a long time, all they've really had is, the big players in the market, the gargantuan companies that just put out whatever kind of jerky that they have. It was never something that they put a lot of love in because they controlled the market. So we're trying to come in having a new idea, a lot of new flavor, bold flavor, inspired by where we come from.
Salmon one, man. I can't. I don't know if I could do that.
Jude will do an unofficial version then. It will not be Cousin Smokehouse. We're a pork jerky company. But
if you'd like some smoked salmon, I will take it.
But Jude's house, however, can produce whatever jerky you want.
We try whatever comes to our mind.
So you'll try that. Okay, since we're on the topic of smoked meats, I got to talk about boudin. Who has y'all's favorite boudin in the area?
Ooh. I'm a Billy's and Best Stop guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in Broussard, so I'm a sucker for chops.
That's a tough one. I used to work in New Iberia, so I'd have to say Legnan's in New Iberia. We would have that one delivered to the office quite a bit.
All three big areas. So nice. Okay. What restaurants in town have your favorite smoked items on the menu?
Oh, man. Somebody else go first. I got to figure this out.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to mention really quickly that there was a restaurant in the area that at one time was doing a smoked lemonade cocktail, and you could really taste the smoke in the glass from the lemon. So that's something.
Yeah, I don't know
of any true smokehouse other than he mentioned Blanchard's that I definitely know.
Smokes, I think the problem with Smokehouse,
smoke,
right?
yeah.
Well, it's a liquid smoke, or they put too much because they're just going for an overpowering smoke flavor. I mean, there's an art to that. I mean, it's got to have a balance for us, and I don't think there's a lot of people in town that do.
Well, in South Louisiana,
could be wrong.
We talk about this often because a question that gets asked is, why did we start smoking meat? And it's like, a lot of people down here grill and think it's barbecue. And it's
right. And I talk about that all the time on the show, that we don't really have good barbecue here.
We don't.
We have smoked meats, and, that's a variation of it. But, yeah.
Right. And I know there's that new place in Broussard that just started.
No Good Sons, yes.
Yeah.
And
so,
they're delicious.
I'm definitely eager to go and try that because having a place like that local would be good.
Johnson's Boucanier does smoked stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, I'm not on that side of town that often. So
their hours don't work with my schedule, so I have to make a special trip to be able to go out there.
Yeah, it's a good place, though.
I haven't tried No Good Sons yet.
That's one of those things, though, that having somebody who actually knows what's going on, it really makes a big difference.
What has been your biggest learning lesson so far with starting this business?
Oh, my goodness. There's a lot of them, and there are a lot of big ones. Scott, I want you to
I think the biggest by far is just the regulatory environment.
Yeah, that's
and the regulations on meat
Apparently,
snack products.
If you have to have certain ingredients to be considered Cajun, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of my foray. Even with the packaging, I mean, they're very particular. If you look at our packaging right now, it was a generic approval because their regular approval is a month-long process. They're very particular. Going through the regulatory side is not easy. No,
yeah, and it was definitely much more than we ever anticipated.
Well, you had to have white pepper.
Yeah.
What has been one of the weirdest things or funniest things that's happened? Or maybe like a question that somebody's asked that you kind of...
I had a lady at a farmer's market ask me if our pigs were grass-fed. That one was hard for me.
Where do y'all source y'all's pork from?
Unfortunately, we can't do just a single local farm. Our requirements are too high for our amounts.
Yeah.
So it is sourced from a variety of places.
The white pepper, I think that definitely threw me for a loop being the cook, because when Lawrence gave me the phone call after he got off the phone with the USDA, and it just blew my mind that somebody, I'm going to assume in Washington, can come and say that this is what you got to have to be Cajun. And I hadn't met many people in their life, or from South Louisiana, that's actually used white pepper. Most of them don't even know it exists. So that was a big thing for me.
I know that you're a big KPEL listener. Do you want to give a shout out to Moon Gaffon if he's listening?
Moon, avid listener, love the show. Anytime. I would love to eat lunch with you. On me, give me a call. Find somebody. A lot of people know me, so just find somebody. They'll get a hold of me.
Moon, I think he's in your chair.
Yeah, I told
wonderful.
him that I think that he's sitting where Moon sits for the show, and he was very excited about that. He was also very excited about being in the KPEL studio because he's
It's
an avid
wonderful.
listener to KPEL. So
Very avid.
yeah. All right. Well, do you guys want to plug where people can go to find more information on you guys, social media, things like that?
Go on, Scott. You're the social media king.
We do the Facebook. We have Instagram, so you can definitely find us on there.
What is our Facebook, Scott?
It's Cousin Smokehouse. Our website is creatively cousinsmokehouse.com. As Lawrence mentioned, we do have a store locator where you can find locations near you. Email us ideas if you have stores that you think should carry us, flavors you think we should try, feedback on the product, good and bad. We'll take it all.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining tonight, guys. This has been a pleasure. That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This is Tiffiany Decou on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.